right now. And we're asking, what was your first job? We want to know what was your first job. So chime in, let us know in the comments. We'll talk about it. This all goes back to there's something, the job market is very hot right now. Yes. But getting the right job is always a difficult thing, especially when you have something called a ghost job. Evidently, managers are putting out these postings for jobs that really don't exist.
Why?
So crazy.
Funny you should say. Let's connect the dots.
Oh, okay. Here's the answer.
Hiring managers are creating ghost job postings to protect their business. Let's connect the dots. It's a new trend popping up everywhere. Employers posting job positions that they have no intention of filling. They're popping up as companies try to combat high turnover. A recent survey from Clarify Capital found that 20% of managers don't plan to fill open jobs until next year. And nearly half of managers say they keep jobs open because they're constantly looking for talent. So how can you avoid ghost postings? Experts recommend looking at when the job was posted. If it looks old, then it's likely the job doesn't exist. And that is connecting the dots.
Making things all the more difficult. The whole job process and finding a job and applying for jobs is just, it seems like it's so unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah, and I have friends, too, that have, since the pandemic, reassessed and applied for new jobs. And they have said they've completely had to redo their resume because now when you apply online, it basically goes into this computer. And if you don't have key words in there, no one's even going to look at your resume.
Oh, man.
I know. I know.
The personal part of it's taken out. It's all
computer-based. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm looking for a job right now.
It's a different world for sure.
It is. So we are asking you, what was your first job? In light of this question, what was your first job?
We're getting some comments already. Felicia saying Burger King.
All right.
Fiona saying a sweet shop.
Oh.
Maybe a little candy store. We have a Ross warehouse in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Now I'm running my own business.
Hey.
Very cool.
How about that?
What about you guys?
First started in a little donut shop called Honeydew Donuts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so just worked there for a couple of days. The very first thing I ever got paid for.
You only worked there for a couple of days?
Yeah, just a few days.
Did go very well.
It was at the end of summer I worked there, but then after that I worked for a seafood shop for a very long time.
Okay.
And then once I got paid for washing dishes, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Angela says library. That's a neat first job.
Yes.
Yeah. Melissa, 28 years ago when I was 17, I was assistant manager in a retail store. Hey, 17. Yeah. That's pretty good. Then Ganson says KFC on the bypass there in Lancaster.
Nice.
What about you, Ben?
Mine was an internship actually in TV newsroom.
Now, did you get paid for your internship?
That one I did. Not all of them, but the first one I did.
Because I never got paid for any of my internships.
The first one I did.
It was just like, get in here.
Here you go.
Free labor.
No, most of them were not paid. The first one, though, was. It spoiled me.
I worked at filling gas for boats at the lake off the dock.
That's awesome.
But I really stunk at it because I was not good with the credit card machine, or if they gave me cash, like change.
You were pumping gas?
Oh, yeah. I was pumping gas. I wasn't very good with math and all that stuff.
No. I wouldn't have been either.
I didn't last too long in that job, but it was my first job. What about you, Larry?
You're talking, my very first job as a little kid was working selling peanuts and popcorn at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem.
That's awesome.
NASCAR races there, and that little quarter-mile track. My next-door neighbor ran concessions, so, I was only 9 or 10, but he said, gave me a job. I'm out there, peanuts, popcorn, anybody. I remember sitting my box down with all the popcorn to go to change, and I forgot where in the stadium it was, and I was walking around crying, I can't find my popcorn. Some guy said, we'll find it for you, too. Anyway, it's my first paying job.
I love it. I would love to see little Larry Sprinkle doing that. No pictures. No. Joy saying she worked in childcare in the summer when school was out. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm sure a lot of people, maybe technically my first job was actually babysitting.
Yeah.
But let's see. Jake, a grocery store cashier. I mastered those produce codes pretty quickly. And Angela saying a summer job at the Department of Probation. So we got a big variety here.
Jobs here.
Shirley, clerk behind the candy counter, local 5 and dime.
Oh.
Yeah.
I date myself. I love that, Shirley.
Yeah, wow. It's funny. People have all, I mean, your first job is, often far different than where you end up being, but it's always very memorable.
But, back then, we just probably went up there and said, I want a job. Can I work for you? Blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, you don't do that. Like, you have to send in this resume on the computer. And remember that story we did on that woman who was trying to get a job and never heard from anyone, and finally, was it for Nike? She made a cake. She put her resume on the cake and then sent it to whoever, one of the heads there, and it went viral for her.
And I heard people even just replying in GIFs have gotten the job more because it kind of shows your personality of just not going the typical Word resume and everything. So try new things, I guess, at that point. But it's fun to reminisce about all this. With
the cake lady, I don't know if she got the job with Nike, but we did say in the newscast that people were reaching out to her just because of her creativity, So you never know. Just step outside the box.
Got to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Who knows? All right. Continue to weigh in. Let us know your first ever job. And we'll see you back here tomorrow morning for another edition of Wake Up Charlotte to Go.
Bye.